All right, what's going on, everyone? This video we are looking at the Wednesday NBA slate. We have 10 games starting at 7 p.m. tonight, so let's get started. As always, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you have not already. You can check out Twitter down below for updates throughout the day. We have a huge slate, so we'll probably get a lot of news today. A lot of some questionable pieces that we're going to have to wait on. Some guys we already know that are out. So, not too much time to waste. Let's get right into it. Starting off at point guard. Three guys above $10,000 tonight: Westbrook, Lillard, and Curry. Lillard on a back-to-back, but he played marvelous last night against the Thunder. Put up 61 fantasy points, flirted with the triple-double. He looks great again today against the Pelicans. Both teams on a back-to-back here. Curry also looks good at 10-5. I think Curry will be lower owned, so you can probably go to Curry in a tougher matchup if you want it to be different. But Lillard looks like a better play just in cash. And Westbrook, I don't. I think he's definitely behind those two guys that are right above him. Just because even though he's been playing better as of late, it's still playing next to Bradley Beal is a lot different than Lillard and Curry scenarios. And Trae Young's been kind of up and down recently. I don't feel great about paying 96 for him against the Celtics. Tough matchup. Uh, he just hasn't been doing a lot of scoring. He has been struggling with his shot. He only has taken one. He only made 1 3 last game on 4 attempts, and the game before that took 0 3. So teams are kind of at least the Pacers made it tough for him to get some shots off. I don't think I'll have interest at 96. The price tag is a little bit tough. And then you have Simmons coming off of his career game, but Embiid is back today, so people might go back to him. But I don't want to chase that performance because Ben Simmons plays completely different whenever Embiid's in. Then we have John Wall at 78. He looks great here. He's been playing back to playing big minutes, which is what we've been waiting for. He's played 34 plus in 3 of 4 games. And then the better news is that a couple of other high usage players on his team, Eric Gordon and Oladipo, both doubtful for this contest, so we should get huge usage rates out of John Wall, a guy that's going to take 20 plus shots. He absolutely chucks out there, makes plays with assists, going to have the ball in his hands a ton. So I feel great about it. 78 is a really nice cheap price tag for him. He's one of my favorite point guard options. Yeah, Mitchell, 83. If the Clippers get some of their studs back, we'll see. It'll be a tougher matchup for Mitchell, and then we'll see if the bigger news is Conley, if he's in or not, because it'll be tougher for Mitchell to absolutely crush if Conley's in. I like Jaylen Brown a ton. Kemba hasn't been playing on back-to-back, so I would assume he will sit out tonight. Should open up more usage for Jaylen Brown, more shot attempts, more assist opportunities. I think he looks like a great play. Him and Tatum both look great against the Hawks, who have absolutely fallen off recently. Then Lou Williams priced up to 7,000 almost. I'm not interested even if they are down a couple pieces. Jazz are very good defensively. Beasley, go to shooting guard. Brogdon looks fine, 77 against the Timberwolves. I'd rather go to John Wall though. Like Jamal Murray over John Morant. Don't have interest in Lou Williams. Don't expect Kemba to play. Clarkson also coming off of a career game, 65. I won't go back to him even if Conley's out. Price tag has kind of gone up there. And then you have like Kobe White, Lonzo Ball, two just guys that if you play a ton of teams you should have a little bit of, but I don't think they're core pieces today. DeLon Wright looks fine. The Pistons look a little bit interesting. A good matchup against the Chicago Bulls here. No longer playing Blake Griffin, so that's just one like decently usage player off the court. So DeLon Wright looks good. He's been playing a lot bigger minutes since they shipped out Derrick Rose. Trent is 58. Looks decent, but the peripherals aren't always there. He gives you a decent floor just because he takes a lot of shots and scores at a good clip, but he's not going to get you very many rebounds or assists. And then for value, you have MCW priced almost to $5,000. We'll see if Fournier is out, then he looks decent. If Fournier's in, then I don't think I'll get to him. Same kind of deal with like Reggie Jackson, Kendrick Nunn, just pieces I won't really get to. Shout out to TJ McConnell. He's been playing great. They bumped him into the starting lineup last game without Doug McDermott, and he's been doing great. I never have confidence when he's like over $5,000, but he's been getting it done mainly with some stocks. So point guard options definitely pay up for John Wall. You have some cheap plays here with Pritchard, most likely without Kemba Walker tonight. You have Rose is 48, looks all right, but not a guy that I'll get to off the bench. So mainly it for point guard. At shooting guard, the second favorite Rocket right now is going to be David Nwaba, who's only 4,300. Really easy to get to him. He's really cheap. He's going to play a ton of minutes. He played 40 minutes last game against the Wizards without Gordon, without Oladipo, both of whom are doubtful. Nwaba is a guy that's going to play next to John Wall, and he should get you some good scoring numbers. He can get some rebounds as well. He looks like a great play, especially with how much Silas hates DeMarcus Cousins. It's a spot where they're going to need to have at least one big out there, and they just waived one of the backup centers. Forget his name. See if he's still on the roster. Spalding, I think. Ray Spalding, they just waived him. So they hopefully Tucker plays, because if not, I mean, it's going to be tough to avoid Cousins in terms of getting minutes. I think you can avoid him for DFS against Embiid, but don't know what they'll do against Embiid because Silas obviously hates Cousins. But I love Nawaba. Looking at the top end options, it's I won't be getting to Bradley Beal at almost 10,000 with Westbrook in. Levine looks all right. He's priced up now at 94, so I liked him when he was in the 8K range. I love Jaylen Brown, 7,900. He's one of my favorite options in the 7K range. Him and Brogdon both look solid. I won't get to Beasley, Lou Williams, Diallo, Clarkson, Wiggins. I like Terrence Ross, 63, mainly a little bit dependent on the Fournier news. But last game, the Magic only played 8 guys with all the injuries. James Ennis was also out. They already said that the rookie Cole Anthony's not going to play until after the All-Star break. So super short-handed. You saw Terrence Ross jump into the starting lineup, played huge minutes, and we know with Ross, absolutely chuck. So if Fournier's out again, it's a somewhat tough spot. The Knicks played good defensively, but if they're only going to have 8 guys out there, then I think Ross looks like a good option. Then we have Josh Jackson priced at 6,300. I think if you were going to target a shooting guard on the Pistons, I might be look to like Mikhailuk, who's $3,200. He's been getting a lot more minutes off the bench recently. He played 21 and 25 minutes at only 3,200 against Chicago. I think he gives you some upside without Blake Griffin now and without Derrick Rose. They just don't have that many other wings off the bench, and Mikhailuk has been playing better minutes, and Wayne Ellington's also $3,000, but it looks like Mikhailuk has kind of they want to get him some more minutes recently, and he's been kind of making the most of it. So I don't mind taking a shot. I'd rather go to him than 6,300 Josh Jackson. Edwards coming off of his best game of the season, best game of his career, 50 fantasy points last night. He's in play. The minutes have gone up on him, which is what we'd like to see, 34, 35, 34. So back when he was playing like 30, 31, those extra minutes are definitely huge for DFS and a ceiling. So I definitely like him. Ingles price tag has come up to almost 6,000. Still looks all right if there's no Conley, but not a core piece. And then don't really have a ton of interest in like a lot of the OKC wings. I think you can have some interest in the OKC front court because Horford should be sitting tonight. He's been sitting on back to back, so we'll get to like Roby, who looks only $4,000. But that's mainly it. Shooting guard, I'm definitely going David Nwaba. Small forward, it's Butler, Tatum look great. Jaylen Brown also looks excellent. Those three are my favorites as guys to pay up for. Then for value, it's like Kyle Anderson's been balling out recently. Blowout last game, but he still played 26 minutes. I mean, he put up 34 in 26 minutes. Been shooting the ball great. He's been shooting over 54% from the floor in his last six games, 45% from three. Been playing great, so I think he is somewhat interesting. I like Terrence Ross at 6,300. I like Edwards at 6,000 just because he gives you a ceiling. Sadiq Bey is 55. They kind of priced him up, but he's going to definitely benefit without Blake Griffin. He's going to get a lot more minutes. So he is not the best play, but he's definitely in play tonight. And then for value, it's not a ton that looks great in this range. Like Gallo's kind of priced up, Valentine's priced up. Maybe you can go to Lamb if they're without McDermott, but he's even without Lamb. I mean, even without McDermott last game, Lamb still came off the bench. They started McConnell instead. So it's not a ton, I think, looks that appealing. Like Semi is probably cheap enough that you can maybe consider. $3,400 power forward. Small forward I'm going with is going to be Jaylen Brown. That's sub $8,000. Love the spot, especially assuming Kemba sits. Should be able to have a very good game tonight. Power forward, it's Sabonis, Randall at the top, and then it's Tatum. I think Tatum looks tremendous tonight, 8,700. He's been struggling with the shot though recently, but it's a spot where he can definitely get back on track. So I like Tatum, I like Randall. I don't think you can go wrong with any of the top three if you want to get to at least one of them. Zion's been playing great. I'll probably go him over Ingram if I had to pick. Then don't have interest really in Tobias. With Embiid probable, Grant's been down the last few games, but we know he gives you a ton of upside. The shot attempts just haven't been falling, but he gives you a pretty good upside at this price tag. But I think if I was going to go with the Pistons, I'd probably go with one of the cheaper guys and pay up for like Grant tonight, just with the Celtics guys, similar price tag. I'd rather get to like Jaylen Brown. I'd rather get to like John Wall, some of the other guys in the 7K range. So the value, it's Tate if they are without Tucker again, and assuming that the other guys that are doubtful sit. Bay looks all right. And then for value, you have some decent value options. You have Vanderbilt, who's been playing more minutes at power forward, played 23, then he played 29. Looks like a okay value option. Roby should start, I think, tonight, if assuming Horford sits. He's been sitting on back-to-backs, and it's a spot against Valanciunas where they're going to need a center out there for most of the game, and Roby has benefited. Whenever Horford has sat, he's been playing like better recently, and he's been seeing some good minutes whenever Horford has sat on back-to-backs this season, so he looks good at $4,000. Other value options, it's like Grant Williams, maybe. Semi looks better than Grant Williams. See it on the status of Tice, that would impact Thompson, again, who almost had a double-double last game. He's 41, so he's still cheap, and against Capella, they're going to need his size out there. So I'm going to wait on the Tice news. Going to wait on the Kemba news. At center, it's Jokic and Vooch are the two guys above $10,000. If the Magic are once again with 8 players, I will go back to Vooch. Tough performance against the Suns last game. Only shot 4 of 14. Played 28 minutes. He's been playing a ton of minutes recently. Been playing up and down a bit. I mean, mainly his worst performance was against the Suns. Even when he shot 8 of 23 against the Warriors, still put up 50 fantasy points. But it's against the Knicks. They lost Mitchell Robinson, so Noel is a good defender, but he does lack some ties to match up with Vucevic. At home here, I think Vuce will be able to have a lot of success against the Knicks, and if Fournier is out again, I feel really good about Vooch, even though he is above $10,000 for the first time this season, I think. And then last but not least, probably go to Edwards. I like the way he's looked recently. He's been playing so much better. He was struggling when he was coming off the bench, but ever since they bumped him into the starting lineup, the minutes have gone up. The shot attempts are there every single night, 21, 15, 20. So he's going to continue to chalk playing 30 plus minutes starting at only $6,000. Matchup against the Pacers. Mediocre matchup here. It's at home. Minnesota plays super fast. This game should be high scoring. And I just like the fact that he's only 6,000. Like, Carlton Towns has still kind of come back a little bit rusty. He hasn't had a big performance yet. There have been and they might even be a little bit cautious with his minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if they even sit him on a back-to-back here. So keep an eye on Karl Anthony Towns if he plays or not. If he's out, then that makes Edwards look even better. But yeah, I feel good about these 6 for now. Go ahead and talk about FanDuel. All right, on FanDuel, point guard, a lot to talk about here. I have a bunch of guys above $9,000. Starts with the most cheapest option is Westbrook, Lillard, Trae Young, Simmons, and Curry. Out of this group, I have some interest in Lillard. And that's mainly it. I think some interest in Lillard and Curry. Don't have interest in Simmons, Young, or Westbrook. 8K range, 2 guys. It's John Wall and Brogdon. I like Wall. They did price him up a bit on FanDuel to 85. But with all the guys out, it's just so much usage for John Wall. Should be a 40 fantasy point night at least from him tonight. And then cheap options here, you have in 7K range, John Morant and DeLon Wright. I go Morant over Wright, but both guys have been playing better as of late if you wanted to go to that range. But for cheap options, you have Jamal Murray, 6,500. If they are once again without all the guys I missed yesterday, he looks like a good guy to plug into your lineup. A great matchup against the Wizards. And then in the 5K range, Diallo, no longer really interesting. Anthony's, I don't know why FanDuel doesn't have him out yet. He's not going to play. Ricky Rubio, just okay, but never really been getting to him. I like Nawaba at 51 still. So I'll go ahead and plug in Nawaba. He's 551. He's decently priced. $3,400 cheaper than Wall. Maybe you can go with both of them and be a little bit different. But I do like the fact that he should get you like high 30s, low 40s in minutes, maybe tonight. I mean, played 41 last game, so 40 is out of the question, but I probably expect like 35 to 38. Matchup against Sixers, good defensive team, but just with lack of bodies, a guy that can shoot, guy that can get some rebounds, some peripherals, looks really good. Then for value, it's MTW is $4,400, and then depending on Morris, like Compazzo is 3,500. Shooting guard, it's Beal, Levine, two guys above 9,000. I don't think I'll get either one today. In the 8K range, Donovan Mitchell looks fine if there's no Mike Conley again. And then we have Williams and Wiggins in the 6K range. Don't have a ton of interest in either one. I like Edwards again, $6,000. Good price tag on FanDuel, especially without D'Angelo Russell, maybe without Karl-Anthony Towns on a back-to-back. Terrence Ross looks great, 56 with all the injuries. Even if Fournier plays, like he could still start, even though they do like to have him off the bench. But I don't think Ennis will play. He didn't return a few days ago with a groin injury, so he might be out for a little bit. And then they're just without a bunch of guys right now. Are the Magic, so don't mind going with Terrence Ross at 5,600 if he does play and they are without all those guys. You know he's going to take like 20 shots, so it does give you a big time ceiling if he happens to get red hot from the floor. Josh Jackson looks decent. Brooks looks all right, 55. And for value, it's Bacon, Cam Reddish, even though I hate playing Reddish. And then Burks is really cheap, but he hasn't been. His minutes have come down with them having Derrick Rose in there now. And then maybe you can look to like, if you want to be a little bit tricky, you can maybe look to like Svi, who's min priced on FanDuel 35, been playing in the mid 20s in minutes recently. Small forward, it's Brown, who I really like. I like Butler too, but Brown is probably my favorite just because he's $1,000 cheaper than Butler. And then Grant looks fine, 7,200. He's been bad the last few games though, so I don't really feel safe about it. But I think the matchup is fine, and hopefully he can get hot. At least hopefully he can make some of his shots that just haven't been falling. And then FanDuel's really dropping the ball here. DeAndre Hunter's out for like 7 to 10 weeks, so should have an out tag next to his name. Porter, after scoring 0 points, which I didn't know how was possible, scored 0 points. See how many minutes he played. 0 points in 24 minutes. Pretty tough to do. If they're without Barton again, don't mind going to him, but definitely not a safe play based on last night's performance. Then for value, it's Daniel House at 4,700. It's like Garrett Temple at 4,500. A few pieces that look somewhat appealing. And then in the mid range, it's like Kyle Anderson's been playing great. It's Sadiq Bey. It's Barrett at 54. Right now, I'll plug in Jaylen Brown at 8,400. Power forward, it's Sabonis, Tatum, Randall. Those are the three that I have been playing. I haven't really been playing Bam when I pay up for my power forwards, but don't mind if you wanted to go to Bam, but I think I'd go to Randall, Tatum, then Sabonis, or whatever works for you in that order. Value, it's like Tobias is 79. I'm not going to pay that much for Tobias with Embiid back. Collins, 71. Has been playing better. The Hawks just have been tough to play recently, except for Capello's been at least decent. Tate looks fine if there's no Tucker. And then Noel's kind of been priced up to 53. Roby is 47. He looks good as just a value option if you do not think that don't think that Horford will play, which I definitely don't think he will. Then you have Vanderbilt, the Michael Green, some cheaper options here. So out of this group, probably go Roby is my favorite. We can also pay up for a guy that if you wanted to, but I'll go with Roby just because I expect to go with one of the 4K options, and once we get the status of Horford being out, Roby will be one of the better value plays at power forward. And then center, it's Jokic and Vooch. Both guys look great. Embiid also looks fine, but in terms of like minutes, I think Vooch will play a lot. Jokic will play a lot. Embiid has been playing a ton, but maybe they'll take it a little bit easy on him with a back injury. Capella is priced up. Gobert is priced up. Towns, we'll see if he plays on a back-to-back here. So not a ton of cheap centers that I'm really looking at, just because there's a ton at the top that have a ton of upside. So right now I'll go with Vooch, 97. Expecting a good night out of him just with all the injuries on the team. The two Magic pieces that you want to get to, at least if they are limited, are Ross and Vooch. They give you a ton of upside, both of them. So that's pretty much it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Best of luck tonight, and see you all next time. I'll probably have a golf video out later today, so if you want to play the Genesis Open, keep an eye on that. But until then, see you all later.